Does your backpack ever feel like it's weighing you down? Like, does it literally weigh so much? You think, I don't think I can carry this. Or maybe you're thinking, how am I going to do this hike with this thing on my back? What if I told you that just one simple rule could help you pack lighter, make your hike easier, and keep you better prepared than ever? Stick around and I will show you how to shed unnecessary weight without sacrificing comfort or safety. Hey everybody, Mauser here and welcome to the channel. Now, after more than 30 years of hiking, both as a guide and on my own adventures, I've seen it all. From people hauling their entire living room onto the trail to my own questionable packing choices. We've all been guilty of carrying too much at some stage. And today I'm going to help you avoid those mistakes and show you how to hike smarter, not heavier. Now, I used to carry everything but the kitchen sink on hikes, but that just made my trips harder. Over time, I came up with a system that made my hikes lighter, more comfortable, and just as safe. And today, I'm going to share this system with you so you can enjoy your next hike without being super weighed down. In this video, I'm going to show you how I pack smarter, keeping my pack light without sacrificing comfort or safety, how to plan your gear efficiently so you're prepared for the trail, but not weighed down by unnecessary items, and finally, how weighing your gear can help you make better decisions about what to bring so you can lighten your load and still keep the luxuries that make your hike more enjoyable. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, let me be clear from the get-go, I am by no means an ultralight hiker. I love carrying quality gear that I know will get the job done and last the distance. But I also don't want to overburden myself with unnecessary stuff. It's all about finding that balance between being well prepared and not lugging around extra weight that you do not need. So let's break this down into a simple system that follows one core principle. And it's what I call smart packing. I not only use this system for hiking, but also for when I am traveling around the world with my wife and our 4 children. And I find that it really makes a difference. This key system has 3 parts: pack less, plan better, and weigh everything. Or as I like to abbreviate it, PLPB, we. This system will lighten your load and make room for the things that matter most. Well, just wait and see. Have you ever packed for a hike only to realize you didn't use half the stuff that you had brought? Well, you're definitely not alone. And the first part of my system is simple: pack less. And well, how do you apply this system? Well, I do it like this. If you didn't use a non-essential item on your last 3 hikes, then it doesn't belong in your pack. This can include items like clothing. Now, a lot of hikers overpack on the clothes. I used to carry extra layers just in case, but I rarely, if ever, used them. Now, I only pack 1 set of hiking clothes and 1 set of camp clothes. Just remember that when you're out on the trail, you do not need to change clothes every day. The trail doesn't care if you smell a bit. Back in the early days, I used to always pack a heap of extra clothing, especially at the last minute. I would throw in an extra thermal. I would throw in a vest, all as I was about to head out on the walk. I would throw in an extra fleece. It was all stuff that I didn't end up needing and I never used. I'd actually, in fact, planned what I was going to take, and then I would end up throwing in extra stuff anyway, and I would never end up using that extra stuff that I threw in at the last minute. Once I figured this out, I realized what my core clothing kit was and have stuck with that core kit ever since. Now I only pack what I know I'll use, and I've never looked back. Now, obviously, seasons of the year will have an effect at what you need to pack, but when you start hiking enough and you apply the pack less principle, you'll figure out your core kit and you'll figure out what core kit you need based on the season as well. Now, with gear, the same rule applies. If you haven't used a piece of non-essential gear in your last 3 hikes, it's likely that you don't need it. Every ounce counts. Every ounce counts. I think I've said that before. And ditching unused items can make a huge difference. And gear is the one area where I have always been guilty of packing way too much. These days, as soon as I return from a hike, I take stock of what I didn't use. I make a note of it so that I don't pack it next time. And if you do this, you'll be surprised how much weight you can save when you start doing this regularly. In regards to food, well, again, the same thing applies for food. Especially when you are on a longer multi-day trek, food is a place where you can really save some weight without making yourself hungry. So it is important that you plan your food and get it right. And I would argue it's one of the most important planning steps in your trip is planning the food. Now, I've previously created a spreadsheet tool for helping me and for you to plan your food for multi-day walks, and I find it really helpful for planning out my food weights and energy requirements. I will leave a link for that download down below. And while you're down there downloading the download, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you do like this video, then you can also subscribe to my weekly newsletter. It's a weekly short email. It normally has something to do, help improve your hiking game, along with the odd interesting fact or other stuff that I've found interesting throughout the week. Right, back to the video. A wise person once told me that the key to a lighter pack starts long before you even step foot on the trail. It's not that profound, but you know, someone said it. The second part of the smart packing principle is plan better. Now, many hikers overpack because they plan for every single possible scenario. What you can do instead is to focus on the specific needs for your specific hike. And there are a couple of ways you can do this. Route specific packing. Do you really need that full hardcore gear for rain if the forecast is clear and the region is dry, or if there's minimal scrub and bushwhacking? If you have the gear available, you can often swap out heavier gear for lighter alternatives. For example, a lightweight shell jacket or raincoat might replace a full knee-length rain jacket if you're in a dry region or if you're on a well-formed track with minimal plant life and scrub to wade through. My kit that I take in this regard can change greatly from trip to trip. 6 months ago, I did a 9-day walk that required gear that could handle absolutely everything that the wilderness could throw at it. As a result, I had to carry my heavier, sturdier rain gear that would protect me from scrub and the wild weather and conditions we would be facing. However, on my most recent 6-day trip, which was in much easier terrain but similar weather, the key difference being that there was no scrub. This allowed me to pack a much lighter rain kit and save a bit of weight. I was still going to be well protected from the elements, but I didn't need the heavier gear to protect me from the scrub and the plant life, because I wasn't going to be wading through it. I wasn't going to be scrub bashing. The other way to plan better is by knowing the terrain. If there are regular rivers and streams along your route, do you really need to carry litres and litres of water? If there is plenty of water along the way, this can drastically cut weight without sacrificing hydration. And also, if it's an easier walk, you might opt for trail shoes instead of boots. Wearing a lighter trail shoe instead of a boot can make a big difference as well. Consider things like, are there huts or tent platforms along the way? Then you can probably ditch some of the fancier luxuries like a camp chair. A lot of people these days like to take camp chairs. If you're in nice huts and on tent platforms, a camp chair is probably unnecessary. Think of your hike like a recipe. You wouldn't add ingredients you don't need. Packing for your hike is the same. You only need the essentials relevant to the hike you are embarking upon. This is why you really need to plan for each individual hike and pack for each hike based on its conditions and its needs. Did you know that just by weighing gear, I can often save more than 1 kilogram in weight from my pack, sometimes more? The third part of the smart packing principle is to weigh everything. Knowing how much each item weighs will help you make smarter decisions about what to bring. And using an app or a spreadsheet can really make a difference to how you plan or pack for a trip. For big multi-day trips, I am using either LighterPack or PackWizard to start planning my gear, often a month or 2 in advance. Once you have your gear set up in these apps, you can very quickly plan for an upcoming trip or even multiple trips at once. Once it's in there, and you can just plan many trips at the same time. And if you have a bit of gear to choose from, it will help you plan which combinations will help you save the most weight. Again, I used to use a fancy spreadsheet back in the day, but these days I find the apps to be the easiest and most efficient option for planning my pack. Another thing you can do is upgrade key items. If you are thinking of upgrading and you're going to invest in lighter gear, focus on the big 3 first: your tent, your sleep system, and your backpack. Now, depending on the type of conditions you are planning on encountering, this may not be much of a weight saving depending on the type of gear that you need, but it is a place where you can make a saving. These items account for most of your pack's weight, and reducing even a little here can make a huge difference. Save weight, add comfort. Comfort versus weight. Here's the key. Saving weight doesn't mean sacrificing comfort. In fact, with the extra weight you save, you can invest in a super comfy sleeping pad or an even more luxurious camp setup. You can lighten up your pack, but still enjoy a restful night's sleep with a high quality sleep system. And this is where I tend to spend my saved weight. I save this weight, and I give myself a little bit of extra weight in my sleep system. I love to sleep comfy. A comfy sleep system makes a huge difference on multi-day hikes, and I wake up feeling more rested and ready to go each day. Think of it kind of like budgeting. You cut out the things you don't need so you can splurge on the things that really matter and keep you happy when you're out on the trail. So by following this one principle, pack less, plan better, and weigh everything, you can reduce your pack weight without sacrificing comfort or safety. Your hikes will be lighter, easier, and maybe even a bit more fun. And remember, the key isn't just to carry less, but to carry smarter. You'll have room for the things that make your hike more enjoyable, like a great night's sleep, without feeling bogged down. And if you want to know a bit more about some of the luxury items I love to take hiking once I've saved up all this weight, then check out this video over here where I go through them all.